Mm.
I can't imagine having a penis. Ah, how are you guys?
Better. I'm in a deload right now. So I've
Talk
been
to us.
in my Betty Crocker era baking. Laura, I'm gonna start the sourdough soon. Probably
Yeah.
gluten-free, probably will do wheat, but this bougie ass yeast needs filtered water. It can't have any fluoride or chlorine in it. I'm like, you boozy bitch. Even I drink chloride water.
Fuck does it know?
What?
What's the difference? Why?
Uh, I feel like some of the chemicals in the water will react poorly with the yeast, and some yeasts are temperamental where they need like the perfect room temperature water, pH balance. So I'm sure it will be fine, but because I don't want to fuck up the starter, because if you fuck up the starter, everything else will go to shit. I'm like gonna have to go to the store and get like princess water for this fucking yeast.
Fuck your yeast.
Literally, literally, I was like, I drink water from the fucking tap like a dog, and
Same.
I'm fine.
Same.
Dude, what is up with the whole sourdough craze? Like, is that like a midlife crisis? I haven't hit that,
I
but
feel
I'm just
like
like
in
curious.
Yeah, dude. So this is my theory. Instead of women having kids, they either do dogs or they do sourdough starters.
Okay, so I'm
So
the
you
dog.
went the dog route, I'm doing the
Yeah,
dough route, and Laura will eventually pop out a kid,
okay,
right?
So here's the
gotcha.
thing. I actually bought the sourdough for myself because I've tried a bunch of different ones in the stores that are gluten-free and they're all awful, but anything you
Mm,
make homemade is better. So I figured, okay, well, I'll make one myself and at least it's like freshly baked and
yeah.
won't be like cardboard. And then I mentioned it on the podcast and I was like, oh, Ashley was all like, oh my God, that sounds like so much fun. So I sent her one on purpose the next day, even though she thought I sent it to her by accident. And I was like, yeah, we can do them together. And mine's still sitting right fucking there. I haven't touched mine either.
Well, I'm in my since I've been out of the gym, I've been and it's holiday season, so I've been like baking and stuff. Yesterday I made a pumpkin bread loaf with white chocolate chip, and today I did a choux pastry for the first time ever. I've never done a choux pastry before, and
The hell is that?
it's so essentially what you do is you take butter or some type of more saturated fat. So I used ghee and coconut oil, and you simmer it, and then you add flour and you mix it to where you have to cook out the flour. And then slowly you add in eggs and create this like puff pastry. So it's like a specific like French standard thing, and I've never done it before. And it was fun. I definitely fucked up the dimensions because they like deflated. At least the bigger ones went so that kind of sucked. They were growers, not showers,
Hmm.
but it was fun. I made like a cranberry date filling and then topped it with white chocolate, and Eric loved them. So they look like really pathetic Danishes, but I had fun and I learned something new.
That
That's
sounds.
it. Learn as you go.
Yeah. So we'll probably try it
Everything.
again, but I mean, I gotta when it says like 2 inches, it was like a very generous 2 inches. Like, when guys are like talking about their dicks and they're like, oh yeah, it's like 6 inches, and really it's like 4.5, and you're like, bitch, I know how to measure. Yeah, that mine was like a very generous, like 2 inches. It was like,
You ever feel bad for guys? Like, we can get our tits bigger. Technically, we can make our clits bigger. Like, they can't make their dicks bigger.
Mm.
get like a penis
Without,
pump
I mean, I
or,
guess penis enlargement, but like, you
or like a
know,
pumper. Like, do they have like a round, like it's,
uh,
That's a
uh,
legitimate thing.
I mean,
uh,
like in porn, they have like pumpers and fluffers. And like
yeah,
erectile drugs. So I'm like, will it actually make it bigger? I mean, I guess you can only stuff so much blood in your tissue before it
That
like
sounds painful though.
painful. Yeah, right.
synthol in the dick.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that would just make it a chode. It would just make it bigger, like bigger.
I could not
I don't
imagine
know.
injecting into your penis.
Mm.
I can't imagine having a penis.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Mhm. Anyway, so why are you on the deload?
Dude, my like the week prior,
Hmm.
great biofeedback. He was happy. He gave me like a little like pat on the head, which for Austin is like very rare, which I appreciate. I appreciate him not being a hype coach. I appreciate him being level-headed. But the next week, like my blood glucose was usually like low 80s, high 70s. It went mid 90s. Like overnight, I was waking up at 4 a.m. My mood was starting to be pretty trashy. Like gym time was fun and stuff like that, but like I felt like my body was just starting to be a little cranky and unhappy. And I was like, oh, I just need to go get like Novolin and like the baseline insulin. My blood glucose is higher. Like it makes sense. We've been pushing food for a while. And, obviously when you're an athlete, you're not really like analyzing the entire context. You're just like looking at what you're feeling in that week, not thinking about, what's been happening the past 3 or 4 months. And Austin was like, you don't need insulin, you need a deload. So let's like take care of that first. And he's had me out since Monday. I haven't trained since Sunday, and my blood glucose has steadily started to come back to like the 80s, and I feel a lot good. I'm enjoying like resting, body work, playing in the kitchen, and I'm like ready to get back in the gym and start this new training block to really bring up glutes. But I've just been enjoying life and just baking. And like I said, my friend Angela was like, "You're in your Betty Crocker era." So we love Betty. We love Betty and her Crocs.
But that's good. I mean, the insulin definitely would have been more of a band-aid kind of solution there. Especially since that's not like your typical,
Yeah.
it's not something that you struggle with typically. So
Yeah. Like a
yeah,
15-point jump in a week.
yeah, it's
That's
quite a
that's
bit.
not like a insulin sensitivity. That's like your
Yeah.
body's like, bitch,
Mm-hmm.
ew.
Yeah.
But how
But
about you
people
ladies?
turn a side eye to that. Doing good. I can't fucking wait for this weekend. I need a break from reality because shit. I feel like every midweek I'm like, nah, I need a
Hmm.
new occupation. I need to go like become a dog walker, open an ice cream shop. I don't know what it is this week, but yeah, it's just like, holy fuck. I just need a fucking break. I mean, I'm still working Friday, Saturday, and my check-ins on Monday,
Right.
but it's gonna be different because I'm gonna be with my sister, Will, just
Hmm.
fucking escaping reality this weekend, and I need it. So
Hmm.
yeah, and I'm taking off time from the gym too, Friday through Monday. So that would be a nice little just break.
Hold on one second. I have a visitor that's not supposed to be in the kitchen. Come here.
LOL.
Oh, a
No,
dog.
I don't know how you ladies like
Say
as you've
hi.
Mhm.
grown as
Oh, you can't
athletes.
see her. I gotta bring her back to her room. I'll be right back.
No, you're
Okay.
fine.
What
Come
you say?
on.
Poor Bunny. I assume it's
Okay,
Bunny.
let's go.
Meg, I'm not
Shit.
sure how you are, but I assume like as you've grown as an athlete, like we used to be so addicted to the gym where it was like 7 days a week or doing like active recovery days where you're still
Mhm.
at the gym training abs or arms or whatever.
Yeah.
But now as athletes, when you like really understand the purpose of training and understand proper recovery, when you get like little deloads or little breaks, are you like, thank God, just to have like a little bit of peace to do other things, or are you still kind of anxious?
No, I'm not anxious at all. Like
Hmm.
dropping down that off my fourth day of training down to three, I was a little timid because I was like, fuck, like I don't train upper. So I was just in my head about getting in enough volume. But like
Hmm.
my glutes and my quad, everything's grown more in the last like 2.5, 3 weeks than
Hmm.
ever before. Like my recovery is so much better.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sleeping better. I'm digesting food better. Like it's insane. So I view these deloads as like just a way to take care of my body more, even
Hmm.
though this weekend I'm not going to be taking care of my body at all. So this week, this weekend's deload isn't really beneficial. That's why I like in my mind at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna get right back into the gym on Monday, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you're
Probably
not.
need a break
So
from
I'm
your
gonna
weekend.
take Monday. Yeah, Monday I'm gonna eat food and not walk like 20,000 steps and just get my life back in line. And then Tuesday start fresh. But yeah, a lot of people do get anxious in the beginning. I know I used to. Like
Mm.
if I couldn't have access to a gym on like a vacation or a trip, I would lose my shit.
Or the holidays, especially since that's coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, like I know shit, when I went to where did I go last year for my birthday? The Bahamas or something, I think. Yeah, I went to the Bahamas.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't train for like
Mhm.
four days. And at that point, I was a little still stressed about that. But I
Mhm.
came back and I looked better. But I think people, if you're stressing about that on vacation, on trips, like that's doing, Jesus Christ, people. That's the complete opposite of what a vacation's for. Like you're supposed to be relaxing and recovering. And I get it. I'm the type of person who likes to seek out gyms and new locations
Yeah.
too. But sometimes there is a point where you're like, are you seeking out new gyms to try like, to train in a new environment? Or are you doing it because you're anxious that you're gonna lose all your gains and all this stuff. Like,
Hmm.
but yeah, I'm in such a better place with that for sure.
Yeah. Laura, what about you when it comes to like deloads and stuff? Are you still a little like anxious, or are you
Um,
like, thank God?
Honestly, I don't really do deloads per se, or I haven't at least.
Hmm.
Um, as far as like still getting in the gym, but like training 50 or whatever percent you want to call it. Like if I felt like I was really like overtaxed, I would take a couple days off totally.
A training break, yeah. The training
Uh,
break. Sorry, I
yeah,
probably should have
I
said
never
training.
really felt that the whole like deload, but still going in the gym and like do like 70% of your max. I'm like, this is fucking pointless.
Yeah, that could be a powerlifting thing, and someone can correct me if they know better, but like that sounds more like a powerlifting thing where you're still like doing your lifts, but like you are bringing down stress just for performance. But I think as bodybuilders, like this is just a personal opinion, I think it would be best just to be out of the gym. Like if your recovery is hard or we're noticing biofeedback like not trend in a good direction, like for the sake of your longevity long term, like just be out of the gym, like focus on other areas of your life that you need to focus on, and just like be at peace that you need to give your body a break.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did it last week. I took an extra day off just because, like, honestly, my anxiety was so fucking bad. Like, I haven't been that like crippled and anxious in a long time,
Mhm.
and I was just putting so much stress on myself for both Cole and Mary and show last week, and like just
Yeah.
that point, like, and I go, I'm sure you guys feel this way too. Is like we're still like newer in the coaching realm, and like wanting to do so well to prove like you can respect me, you can trust
Yeah.
me, you want to work, like I want to help you, like all of the things, and like, you know, getting your people right and doing well and all of that is like a big part of that. And like certain things you just can't control. But like I just carried so much of that on me, and like I wasn't sleeping. I was like, well, maybe I should be doing this, maybe should be doing that. And like fuck
Hmm.
me.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Ash, about like you'd rather just be out of the gym and Laura be out of the gym completely. I mean, I use like RPE like 6, 7 on people who are suffering from like high cortisol. Like
Hmm.
I'll pull their training down, like I'll give them more rest days, but I won't just say like, don't go train for the 6 to 8 weeks that we're gonna be
That's
assessing.
more like
Context.
long
Yeah.
duration. I mean,
Yeah.
like a very short term thing, like
Hmm.
a
Okay.
couple days or something like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, like on those days that they take off, like if they have like biofeedback screaming at me and I tell them like, listen, don't train for the next 2 days, I'll also like push their food up. Like give them more food on those days because that will actually bring cortisol down. Unless they're a fucking stressed out Susan and they freak out and they're like, I'm gonna get so fat. Like you're not gonna get fat. It just
Susan.
Yeah.
eat the food, listen, and rest.
I mean, I feel like people do get so inside their feelings, and obviously I did
So
this too, where it's like
yeah.
we automatically think that rest and more food equals fat gain. And if you look at society as a whole, where they're doing absolutely nothing and eating all the food, yes, that is how fat gain happens. But it is also slowly to happen unless you are eating like 25,000 calories every single fucking day, in which case that's a whole nother thing. But like in the grand scheme of things, like it takes calories, it takes proper nutrition to grow muscle and recover. So like for me, it's okay, 5 days out of the gym. Yes, I still have high calories, 3,000 calories a day, right? Still doing my cardio, even though it's not that much. I'm still going on walks. My foods are still nutritious. Like I'm not going to Domino's, downloading the app, getting like 2 pizzas for Eric and I. Like I'm still eating my normal meals, lots of colors, lots of diversity, but I'm reading. I'm baking, I'm having fun, I'm playing, I'm doing the things that help me to recharge both physically and mentally. And I'm not sweating on, oh my God, am I going to gain an extra quarter of a pound of fat this week because I'm not in the gym until Saturday? If I gain the fat, I gain the fat. There's nothing I can do about it. And stressing myself over gaining a small amount of body fat that will be ripped off in contest prep, it's just completely like defeating the purpose of deloading and resting, because it takes a lot of energy to argue with yourself and just cause yourself all this mental stress.
Yeah. And I kind of gotten away from the thinking of less food on rest days at all.
Mhm.
You know, I think it's probably better for us mentally and physically from a recovery standpoint and growth standpoint to keep our calories consistent across the week. Or if you're taking away anything, take away like if you have intra-workout carbs, take those carbs away. And that's what your baseline calories are, minus the intra carbs. Like I've seen more results with that.
Mhm.
But again, it goes back to like the mental aspect of eating more on rest days. People are like stressed about it. But once they do it and listen and they notice, oh, I didn't balloon up like a whale or gain 10 pounds, I actually dropped weight.
Uh-huh.
They have that buy-in, but getting them to actually do it, it's can take a little bit of a process for sure.
Mhm.
So let me ask you your thoughts on this, and then I'll kind of jump in with mine. So I'm similar with that as far as like, I won't do a big differential between training days and rest days for athletes. Same thing with like titrating carbs and fats, depending on what they're doing. Would you say that you'd be more concerned just like monitoring, blood glucose, body fat composition, all of that, as opposed to their daily intake, so recovery can be better?
I think it's across the board. It really just, again, I know it's like context, but yes, absolutely. But like in some cases, it depends. Are we growing? Are we doing like mini cuts or dieting down?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like in some cases where it's like, if you only have, let's say 100 to 50, talking about females that are maybe less like genetically built with muscle, like that small calorie window, is that really benefiting them in a shred and a cut? Or would it be better to have low days really low and then have like larger refeeds? That's still like toggling carbs and carb cycling, but like it is so important with how are they viewing their nutrition and like what do they actually need. And when it comes to mentally, like if it's someone that does have a hard time putting away food, then absolutely like the calorie difference might be more heavily toward intra carbs because it's easier to drink like carb powder than or extra ounces of rice. But as far as like my thought process, it really just does depend on the situation and how they view their training. Do they even train hard enough to warrant like carb cycling and like pushing food on training days? Because if they're not training that hard because they haven't developed that skill yet, probably would just be better to eat the food rather than drink the food.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. But also I definitely consider biofeedback for
Mhm.
sure. Like you said, like the blood sugar, the weight fluctuations and things like that. Because okay, maybe on their rest days because they aren't moving quite as much, I won't move like the total calories too much, but
Mhm.
I may put more emphasis on like healthy fats and keep their protein the same, but more healthy fats and pull down the carbs just because, well, like Ash said in that context, like they haven't developed that skill of really pushing their training so hard to like actually deplete their glycogen stores. So like, is it really needed to drive carbs up high on rest days? Or, can we still recover and replenish our body by keeping calories up, but just using more fats for that?
The
Mhm.
reason I ask you that, honestly, is because I remember a long time ago seeing Phil Viz talking about it and saying how, like, even his guys in off season, he has them doing extremely low carbs, high fats for that, like, insulin sensitivity regulation
Mhm.
and all of that, even in their off season. And like, to me, I've always felt like that's extreme and not necessarily necessary. Maybe upon certain cases it can be, and like, depending on how big like, he's obviously dealing with like big guys most of the time.
Right.
But I think that just from like a client adherence, and like this is also too from like experimenting in the past, like I've seen more adherence with having things more consistent as opposed to like all of these toggling, especially lifestyle clients. Lifestyle clients do not want a carb cycle ever because it's confusing and adjusting, and cut and dry tends to be easier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think like in his experience, like obviously his experience is, a lot more reverse than us, and obviously he's welcome to believe what he believes. There are some people, I think guys especially can do that, and it might benefit them from a digestive standpoint to mostly have like protein, veg, and fat on those rest days, especially if he's working with genetic outliers where their carbs are like 1,000 plus. Maybe absolutely. Was that something that I would do myself? I think I would hate it because I really do like eating fruit. And if I couldn't eat fruit on my rest days, that would make me a sad Sarah, because we said stress Sarah. No, stress Susan. That would make me a sad
Mhm.
Susan, which would cause me to be a stressed Susan. So it's like I think it's so important to understand, again, the baseline psychology and meeting them where they're at in terms of like their knowledge of bodybuilding and training and recovery and nutrition, because the more complex you make it, usually you're just adding more stress. And that's something that I experienced when I got my second coach is we were so focused on doing things optimally and right that I was just so fucking stressed and overwhelmed with being so perfect and optimal that nothing fucking happened other than getting fat.
Mhm. I actually had something to kind of piggyback off of what you just said, Ash, the whole being perfect thing.
Mm.
It's something that I've been seeing a lot of talk about on socials right now is, do you think, now, of course, form and execution is important in training, but do you think it is more important to be 100% perfect in your execution of a movement or be able to push your intensity up and actually train hard? What do you think is more important?
It's
Intensity.
important to have like a standard setup with wiggle room because when you actually train intensely until failure, you are going to get less perfect with your form. Like you were just going to have muscle groups compensate, break down, whatever. So have a standard set with wiggle room for variance because again, things aren't going to be perfect in a vacuum. Like that's just not realistic in my opinion. But once you have the standard set for the exercise, add the reps, add the intensity, like get in there and get in the gym so you can get out and recover. Like I feel like a lot of people get so focused on pushing really hard, but like let's say they're doing a bicep curl and they look like they're dry humping. Like maybe you get a little bit of stimulus, but it's like have some level of intention with moving the weight, bring up that intensity too. So in my opinion, it's both, but you still need to train hard to earn those effective reps. So have a baseline, stack upon it. That's my opinion.
I don't know why, but just thinking about that and like this is maybe could cross translates to like kind of my training, but I envision this as like a more focused towards legs comment. You know, like training to be perfect or training to the point you're like really just pushing past discomfort and
Yeah.
all. Because like I don't feel as though like training upper, like obviously to an extent, but like that's where it's going to apply a lot more is like getting out of that like mental state of this needs to be executed perfect or I just need to fucking go.
Yeah. I feel it's harder to teach someone how to train hard and with proper intensity than it is to help them perfect their form and execution.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'd rather see someone push a fucking set to failure. Maybe it's not perfect form, but I'd rather them mentally be able to push a set to failure than them stop 5 reps shy. But yeah, they have perfect form. But I'm like, okay, how can I teach you to push yourself?
Mhm.
Because if you're only adding 2.5 pounds like every other week, like onto an exercise, like a fucking leg press or something, you're not gonna grow. Like there's no fucking way. Like people are so timid with their increases because I think people are stressing too much about the perfection in form and execution. And they're forgetting about actually just training hard. And
Mhm.
I don't know, I'm trying to get away from being like, I'm not really like a stickler with form,
Mhm.
but obviously I don't want my people to get hurt and I want them to be utilizing the correct muscles. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, I'd rather you actually break out of your comfort zone and train hard than
Mhm.
train like a timid little bitch, you know?
I think once you have like the baseline understanding of how to execute the movement and get connection with the muscles that you're targeting, you're kind of in the clear to start pushing past that. You know,
Mhm.
once you know
Mm.
you're free of injury, they can do it safely, hit the gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely with Laura where it's like there needs to be both, right? Like obviously, like I know you want to make sure your athletes are safe too. To me, it's like it's going to be a lot more difficult, especially if they're newer to training, to really understand what it's like to dig deep. And like kind of again, you have to understand the client psychology where it's like, what is going to get you to tick? Is it
Mm.
someone where you need to be ultra aggressive, like gun to your head mentality? Are you someone that needs maybe a little bit more gentler approach where it's like, try again, do more? Are you someone that's maybe the middle ground where it's like, hey, if the weight's still moving, I'm still in it? It's like having to understand like what the client connects well with. And it's like, I feel like that is really good to explore just so that way you're not, I don't want to say offending them in that like weak sauce mentality, but like if you constantly tell a client that's not receptive to your feedback about like training harder, don't be a bitch, don't be a pussy, like they're more likely to feel defeated and they'll likely just feel like they're a lost cause and give up before they've really like found what works for them. But that just kind of comes down to like a general philosophy approach and also knowing your athlete and what they need as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not calling my people bitches and pussies. That's
Right.
mainly me talking to me. Like,
Same.
you know what I'm talking about? Like,
Yeah, I
That's
have
right.
a client in person that actually asked for that.
yeah, like I'm not calling my people bitches. I
Right.
have to clarify that. Like, I don't tell them that that's what they need to focus on all the time, but I see people with all of these goals and aspirations of, I'll use myself as an example, of having legs like me. And then I see them train.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, well, mentally, I don't think you can get to a place like me.
Mhm.
That's
And it's,
most
you know,
discover wellness.
like I just see it so often in the gym and everything. Like these girls are like wanting these big ass legs, but they're training
Mhm.
like I don't even know. Like
PEDs are the magical answer. What are you talking about?
That's right. Vitamin
maybe,
A
yeah.
bar.
Oof, you got them.
I don't know. I just get heated about it because I think people are focusing too much about being perfect
Mhm.
or trying different little exercises that are fluff work. And I won't lie, I've been doing a little more fluff work for myself because I found that my heavy compounds, like doing a lot of them, it's just growing my quads more and my hamstrings more, and I need to really isolate. And I hate that I have to isolate because I like just fucking gripping and ripping and heavy like lifting.
Mhm.
But now I'm doing more fluff work. But you get the point. I don't know. I just get pissed off.
I strongly await the day that I outgrow being able to do that. Right now, I'll sling and bang them for both of us.
Okay.
I
Damn.
get that.
Like, oh,
I think it's
but
just being proud of the skill of lifting. And I feel like a lot of people just think it's just exercising. They don't
yeah.
understand it's a skill to be developed, much like me making shoe pastry. Okay, well, my shoe did not work. It rose and then that sucked,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna try again eventually. And I feel like a lot of people they expect to be perfect the first time they get in the gym, not understanding
Yeah.
that this is a skill that all three of us have worked our practically our entire bodybuilding career, exercise career, whatever you want to call it, to get better, right? To
Mhm.
have better engagement, to have better mind muscle connection, to develop that level of intensity. And it wasn't until I hired my second coach that intensity was drilled home for me after we made sure that we did our due diligence on setup, activation, mobility work, stuff like that. So I think there is a level of balance. And when it comes to certain muscle groups, like okay, 2.5 on a leg press, okay, we gotta get real. But something like 2.5 or the little plate mates that I have on something like delts, that could be
Yeah.
beneficial, but it's all relative to the size of the muscle group
Mhm.
and whether or not it's a lagging body part. You know what I'm saying? So obviously, if it's a lagging body part, you probably suck at connection or something like that. That first needs to be ironed out before just adding a bunch of weight. And for
Yeah.
me, my quads wouldn't grow for shit. Why? Because my ankles looked constantly like a fucking right angle. I had like no movement at my ankle joint. So it took a lot of time and effort into getting the ankles to open up the hips, right? And now, like, yeah, I'm mostly all femur, but I have bigger quads now. And although bikini is not like judged on quads, I needed more quad to make a well-rounded physique. So really it just comes down to like, god damn, enjoying the process. Like enjoy being in the gym, enjoy challenging yourself, enjoy developing a skill. Stop trying to get like perfect because like doesn't exist, dog. Just like have fucking fun, throw some weight around, be a big bitch. Be a
Yeah.
bitch.
Dude, speaking about that mobility at the ankle, that's something I have to thank ballet for. Because now that I think about it, like I never worked on my mobility with like my
Mhm.
ankle or anything like that. But in ballet, like I would overstretch the shit out of like the arch of my foot and
Mhm.
my ankle joint itself to get like deeper in a plie or something. Like I did a lot of TheraBand work like every single fucking day. And I think that just translated over to pretty solid ankle mobility, and that's why my quads grow so well. And
Uh,
people forget
I
that.
believe
They
that.
think that they can just like I don't even start with saying, "Oh, you need to get deeper. You need to go deeper." I look at their ankle, like you said, and I'm like,
Mhm.
"Okay, you need to work on your mobility."
Yo.
And then they're like, "Maybe." And I'm just like, "What?" But that's also where I use like wedges and stuff too to
Oh yeah.
help people who definitely have like just shit mobility. Like still work on your mobility, but wedges definitely help.
it's a temporary like replacement, so that way you
Yeah.
still get that like knee over toe, that hamstring to calf
Yeah.
that people are always like talking about, but it's like still do the other work because that will also benefit other lifts where you can't
Mhm.
use a wedge, or
Yeah.
you know, maybe you don't want to spend $150 on like the powerlifting shoes because like that's
Fuck,
that's
I
expensive when you could
I
just
have
buy like
$30 wedges from Amazon.
yeah, just use a wedge. Use a wedge and work on ankle mobility. Get a band and do the mobilization shit.
Yeah.
I had to do all that. It took me forever to like be able to move my ankle at all because I
Mhm.
Mhm.
broke my tibia. Fucking
Yeah.
Yep, I get
Wait,
that.
did you ever break a bone in your body? Have you guys ever broken bones?
How much time do you have?
Oh fuck.
Laura's like, oh, my time to shine.
Damn, you've broken that many?
Yeah.
Well, you got brittle bones? Break
No,
your calcium?
no. All right. Well, I'm on 3 broken noses. I broke my patella. I broke my tibia. I broke 4 toes. And I fractured my elbow. Is that considered a break?
I would
Holy
say,
shit,
yeah.
Laura.
Hmm. I was
What
also
did you
that kid that was
do?
like, out of my way, I'll try it,
Oh,
fucker. Like that
you're
got,
also a gymnast, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Damn,
I've broken shit.
I
it
almost wish I
sucks.
wasn't because I was never afraid of anything. Literally, no fear. It didn't matter what it was because
I'm
of
scared of everything.
flying through air. And then I would do dumb shit.
I love that. No, I've only broken 3. So I broke my little pinky toe and I chipped my ankle bone. That was like the same 2-for-1 deal, which caused a bunch of ankle issues and hip issues. And then one drunken night in college, I fell downstairs. I don't remember jack shit and like broke my thumb somehow. Where like
That
it's
can be a
just
bad one.
Mm.
what? Yeah, it's just
Thumbs are
like
hard because of the tendon and all
Mhm.
that
yeah.
ligaments.
It sucked because this is my like dominant hand. And so like in being in college writing, it was just like I recorded all of my shit. But speaking of dominant hand, I taught myself how to brush my teeth with my left hand. I've been working on that the last 3 weeks and it is really fucking good.
You know, that's actually that's good to do for like your neuronal fucking
I was
That's
gonna say
what
connections
why.
bullshit in
yeah,
your
that's what I
brain.
like read from Alex Kickle. I think that's how you say his name. But like he was like talking about like doing something with your non-dominant hand. And the first like 2.5 weeks out of my 3-week adventure,
You're just like
dude, I was like brushing
shit's
my eyeball.
everywhere.
Dude, I have stains of my toothpaste. It looked like I was slobbing on a knob. Just like all over my tits, right? And I'm just like, Eric's like, I'm really proud of you for trying something new and just challenging yourself just for shits and kicks. But it got better, guys. It got so much better. So I'm not like as good on my right, but it's a hell of a lot better. No,
Oh,
no
she's
shitty
ready.
stains.
Ready. I don't
But
know if
that's so true, though. That is good to actually do for your brain health. And
Mhm.
also something I've been doing, because I do the same walk with the pups. If you just go the opposite direction, that
Yeah,
also is good for your brain health.
no
I'm
shit.
trying to not get dementia like everybody else in my family, so I'm trying to like take this shit seriously. I'm gonna start breaking out like the Sudoku and the fucking
Yeah.
like crosswords and
I was gonna say Meg's gonna get like the crossword puzzle book.
shit.
I
Well, I
love
want to start doing more like arts and crafts versus like watching movies and stuff like that. Like, it's actually good for you.
it.
Well, you guys are getting smarter. I made like two dumb decisions in a row this week at
What
this doing the
happened?
same thing. I was cooking eggs and I was being a lazy bitch and didn't feel like getting out a spatula because I was already using a fork to put the avocado on the bread. So I was
Uh-huh.
trying to flip the eggs with the friggin' fork I was using, and the pan flipped with it and got my wrist once. And then
Damn.
you think I would learn from that and not do it again. What did I do? The exact same thing the next day.
Damn, Laura.
So we
Yeah, you're
use
like on the
spatula.
exact opposite. You're like brushing your teeth, with your fucking toes, and you're wondering why like you have like
Why isn't
shit
it all
all over the
working?
place.
And the best part is like I keep getting looks at work like the
Dude,
fuck.
Yeah,
it looks
it looks a little
it looks
I look
suspicious.
super like Meg and I during I guess 2008 when
I'm
that
very
shit
happy, I
was
promise.
yeah, good.
So yeah,
But
learn
yeah, okay.
spatulas
Just change
only.
directions that you're walking, brush your teeth with your opposite hand, don't flip eggs with forks.
Or at least have like two just
Two
have a
forks,
hand
or
in the
like
pan.
stand
Yeah.
away from the pan. I just can't. Is the holder of the pan,
Yeah, do a
but
tutorial. Like
like
how are you
where
fucking
is
this
the
up?
So I had already finished cooking the eggs. And I
Yeah.
had moved the pan to like the counter to take it off and put onto the bread. And when I did that, I wasn't holding the other side, and that's when
Who
it
does that? Who moves you move it from the thing?
absolute animal. Absolute
Interesting.
animal. Look at it. I
Do you
told
put
you I
it
was
on
very
like a
stressed last week, okay? Listen, I wasn't fully
okay. All of what you said was wrong. So
What type of
I
eggs were
remove
they?
my pan.
Like, what was the cooking method? Like, I get it was in a pan, but like, how are you going to eat the eggs?
Scrambled.
Yeah.
I just throw them on the pan and let them cook.
So over easy
Is it
then?
omelet?
Yes, yeah.
Over
No,
easy.
not really over easy because I cook them through. I don't like runny eggs. I just don't scramble them.
Oh, so
So
you
it
just
wasn't scrambled. It
you make
was
like a deflated deviled egg essentially. You just cook the yolk where it's like,
I just throw them in the pan and let them cook, and then when I think it's done, I take them off.
Meg and I are judging you for your
shit. I
consumption.
don't even
I can
cook and I
feel
make
it.
things better.
I can feel the wrath. Okay.
Oh my God, that's so
Damn.
funny.
Well, I guess at least it's not have you guys seen these? It's called it's cholesterol free eggs in a carton. It's plant eggs. I don't know what it's
Okay,
called.
so during my vegan era, I tried those. They
No,
taste so fucking bad. Like
just eggs.
Like an egg
Eggs from
fart. That's
plants.
what I'm imagining.
it doesn't I wish to God it tasted like a fart. Like at least it would
Mm.
have some type of flavor. It literally tastes like if chickpeas farted and had chickpea dust, that's what it tastes like. It is disgusting.
I don't get it. The cholesterol in the eggs is good for you. Why are we going back to like the 60s and 70s where
People are
like
dum
fat
dums.
was bad and cholesterol made you fat and all this shit?
Dude,
Like, no.
no.
God damn. I saw that I was like, wait, so you're taking the fat out of the eggs? The fat is the what?
I mean, even if you wanted cholesterol-free eggs, I'm pretty sure egg whites are cholesterol-free. Like,
Yeah,
fuck's sake.
yeah, yeah, but don't eat egg whites. You have to eat just a plant-based diet.
Yeah, I mean,
There's so much disconnect with what people understand and don't understand. I have a client I recently started working with who's an older lady. She has type 2 diabetes, which means you have not taken care of yourself, not that you
Mhm,
have a medical condition that, is a forever thing. And I'm trying to explain that to her that like we can have some carbohydrates. Doesn't
mhm.
want anything to do with it. I'm like, listen, how did we get in this position in the first place? Uh, it's
Why
like
is that
learning.
though?
What's
I
that?
feel like a lot of people with type 2 diabetes, like my dad included, he does this shit. He goes uh, full, like, he just switches to protein, I guess, and fats.
mhm.
Hmm.
But then I'll see him eating like chips and eat like snacking and all this stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm just hungry. But I'm like, but what?
Yeah,
Like, I'd rather see you eat like a meal full of potatoes and fruit and all this stuff.
exactly.
Balance
Balance
your blood
it.
sugar. Don't just,
Have some fiber. The
they're
thing
just like, no carbs, but then they snack on carbs. I'm like,
the thing that
make
kind of
makes
blew my
sense.
mind too, she was like, oh, well, my doctor wanted me to get a continuous glucose monitor, and I didn't like my numbers as I was eating fruit. And I'm like, as you were eating, is that how they told you to take your glucose? No shit, it's gonna spike. That's what your body is supposed to do.
Like, where do you think the glucose comes from?
You'd be dead if that didn't happen. Like, what?
But like that goes to show you that's how fucked up the education
I
system
know,
is
and
on
I'm not saying
doctors.
this to make fun of her. It's just crazy how
Yeah.
little people understand. I was like, so let's try
Mhm.
this again. 90 minutes later, after you eat, and then see where you're at. Then we can worry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like your education, even as like just like who you are as a person, like from my family's perspective, a lot of them didn't have education outside of either a trade school or high school. And so like my mom literally said, I didn't even realize a vegetable was a carbohydrate source. And I was like, yeah, like it has carbs. Like vegetables and fruit have carbs. Some fruit like avocado
I
has
can see even more why she would think that too, because how many people talk about not counting your vegetables,
because shit.
fiber intake,
Right, the fiber intake, but what's
Net carbs.
the
net carbs. Yeah,
diet app where it's like free, it's like Weight Watchers where they do the numbers?
there's a few that do stuff like that.
Yeah. Weight
Yeah,
Watchers
Weight
also ruin
Watchers.
people.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I'm happy I never got into that whole like Weight Watcher shit.
Dude, me too. But I will say down here there's a white girl cafe where it is just bougie as bougie can be. They have beet margaritas, okay? That's where we're working at in Charleston.
God.
Protein options for one of their salads. chicken. Okay. Chickpeas.
Okay.
No perky.
Okay. No, and then again, protein plus $5 to add on protein. Avocado. I was like, y'all are clowns. Get the fuck like it's called. I think it's called Basic Kitchen. I was like, you basic fucking retard.
That's
Like, I
like
mean,
people saying that peanut butter is a good protein source.
Yeah.
at least it has protein in it though,
Okay,
even though
sure,
it's
yeah.
shit. Like it's got
Well, I
seven.
don't
Freaking
know.
Reese's
Avocado
got
has
protein,
first.
but like
Reese's good protein.
it's like how dumb can you be? Like just pull up MyFitnessPal, pull up Healthline, Chronometer, whatever the fuck, and it will tell you that like for 50 grams of avocado, it'll be like 7 grams of fat, 0.3 grams of protein, and you're charging my
Protein,
ass
so
$5 for avocado that's got 0.3.
Avocado is one of those items I feel like has skyrocketed too for price point.
hmm
I
So
don't.
I imagine what they're charging you for it in store,
Dude,
uh, restaurant, whatever.
my last week of avocados pissed me off. I don't know what it was. It's like every time I cut one open, like it would be perfectly green.
Mhm.
And then the second I could usually save the other half for like another meal. I go
Yeah.
back to get the other half, it's black. And I'm like, the
I
fuck?
think it's just oxidizing from the air though. You can still use it.
Ew, I'm not gonna use that.
Just sprinkle some acidic over it, like lemon. You like lemon and lime, just do a little bit of lemon and lime over it to help preserve it.
Hmm.
Mhm.
See, I've just been throwing it out and using another
Yeah.
avocado.
Or what you can do is if you have like cling wrap or press and seal, you can wrap it up kind of like a mummy
And
dummy.
tinfoil helps with that.
Yeah. So it's just a reaction, but yeah, I get you. If not, just get the little cups so that way you can use what you need and
Yeah.
not be
I
wasteful.
think it's also our fridge. Our fridge has been, I don't know if there's like a ghost in our fridge, but it's turning from like the recommended coolness to fucking Antarctica. And literally our rice gets frozen, pasta frozen, avocado gets frozen. I'm just like, ugh.
Oh, you might need a new fridge then, because that's usually what it'll do. Like, you know how like people go through menopause, they have like one less harumph of
Yeah,
hormones. Yeah, your fridge is going through menopause before it's about to shut down. Eric can correct me if I'm wrong, but that happened to us once, and the motor just went.
love that. Well, I guess we can ask our maintenance because we ain't paying for that.
Yeah.
That's the only sucky part about wanting to look for a house next year to rent is
All
that
on
we
you.
don't have a maintenance team.
Yeah.
Oh, well, no, that's different. They still have to pay. Well, it could be different in Florida, but in Massachusetts, they still have to apply
I
supply
mean,
appliances
hmm
and the maintenance
Oh,
of it.
so maybe
Yep.
not. Okay. I didn't
It
think about
depends on
that.
what it is,
Yeah.
like a stove or refrigerator, like your necessities, they are supposed to
But it
be.
may not be as quick, maybe.
Probably, but I mean, at the same time, like it is also a business, so like they also are banking on reviews. So if they're professional, like they should take care of you ASAP. But what they might do is usually if you're renting out houses, and the only way I know this because Eric and I were thinking about renting out houses, is like if they have a company, like a leasing company that manages the properties versus just
Mm,
like me mom peepaw down the street.
mm.
Well, me mom peepaw might take their sweet ass time, but if it's a professional leasing
Yeah,
company,
that's true.
they'll get on it pretty lickety split because that's their job.
True, true. Yeah.
Oh,
I like it here in this apartment, but I am ready for like a little yard. Like I love having like a yard with like a fire pit or
Mhm.
like shit like that, man. It's nice.
Yeah. As long as it's not down south because you have fucking mosquitoes.
Mm, yeah. I think we're gonna stay in the Tampa area for
Just
a little.
get a bunch of those tiki torches
Mm-hmm.
with the what's that?
Citronella.
Yeah, thank you.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. Florida.
Yeah.
We
Word.
got it.
question, do either of you know that a random thought? What is the ruling for qualifications for national shows? So say you have to be top, I think it was top five. That was what it says on the website when I looked. No, I thought it was top two, but it
Thought
says
so
top
too.
five, so it could be old. What is the duration in which your qualification is valid?
I think
1
it's one
year.
calendar year.
So
Yep.
it's, so say, for example, Marianne qualified at the show November 2nd, 2024. Is that good until November 2nd, 2025?
I thought it was calendar year, like she
Or is
has
it just
to have
until
like
the
the
end
whole
of
year.
2024?
I as a business,
Shit.
it probably is the end of 2024 because
This
they would
bitch.
earn more money to renew the card, do another show. So that would be my guess as a business owner trying to milk
Yeah.
the system. I could be wrong, but like, again, it's a business.
I think it is calendar year, but I'm not 100% sure. How long are you nationally qualified? For 1 year. You are qualified for 1 year, so I don't think it's. Yeah, it says once you have placed top five first calls at a local NPC show, you are qualified for 1 year to compete on the national stage. But I don't think it's top
Top
five. I
five?
thought it
I
That
was
didn't
seems
think
top.
it
like
I
was
a
top
thought it
five
was
cool.
gonna
either.
go
I thought
to
it would
five.
change to top two. That's why I was so confused because I don't think
Yeah.
that's accurate either.
I feel like they did that in 2020 when it was COVID, but I thought they reversed that because that's ridiculous. That means I would have been nationally qualified in 2019.
I feel like it should be
Fucking win the overall.
first place.
First place in
I
overall.
agree. I think you should have to win an overall to be at a national level show. Fuck that shit.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
They
don't
didn't
know.
ask us though.
Or at least win your class.
I'd
Yeah.
have to look that up. I don't really know.
Let us know. Let us know what you find on
I
Google.
will. I'm like looking at NPC news online right now.
I spent a decent amount of time looking for it. I couldn't find it.
Oh, shit, then I probably won't.
I feel like that's why make things harder?
To find.
Like, I don't know, man. They didn't ask us. Oh my goodness. What does the rest of y'all's week look like? Does y'all's like places have like any like fun hall like fall events or like stuff like that? Like local
It's been
stuff?
like summer here. It's
Mhm.
crazy. We're having record highs for like in ever. First time ever. Been 80 degrees here in November.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's fires everywhere. Like all surrounding towns around me are having brush fires because we've had no rain and it's summertime.
That's crazy. It's literally rained all day here. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Smells like someone's like smoking ham at all times around here.
Dang. Um, I mean, here we have the big old Christmas tree lighting November 30th, but we're thinking about going to actually St. Augustine for Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving is on Thursday. The next day they do their Christmas lights.
mhm.
So it's like that's our pregame for Christmas. So that's the plan for that. But the rest of this week, what are my plans? Is that what you asked?
Yeah, but
I'm getting
you're
my
going
hair
to
done.
you're getting your hair done, but don't you have a rave festival?
Yeah, I'm getting my hair done for it. I'm getting braids.
Ooh, like what type of braids? Like dual? Like
I
the
think they're
Star
gonna
Wars
be like,
braids?
yeah, they're gonna be pink, orange, and yellow. And we're gonna do three up the top and go down.
So are
And
you
then
getting your hair dyed or is it like fake hair being put
fake
in?
hair.
Okay.
Fake hair. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I don't bitch out, I'm gonna have totally different color
I
hair
was
next
about to
time I
say,
see you
Laura, when
guys.
Yeah, what's going on with
we're
that?
waiting.
Monday.
You're doing it
Yeah.
like Auburny or
Yeah.
red?
Like red.
Good.
Oh,
More
I
like
see
like
more
Jessica
red,
women
Rabbit?
red
doing it.
brownish. We'll
Ooh.
see.
I think it's gonna look good.
Well, I was saying, I was like thinking about it the other day. I was like, I think I would like it for everyday life, but I definitely don't want to have red hair on stage next time around when I compete. So I was getting a little anxious about it. And I was like, fuck, I could just wear a wig and like honestly buy a decent wig. So there you go.
You
Hi,
could.
Chad.
You see him, he's so cute.
He's sleeping. He's a sleepy boy. I don't know.
Yeah.
There was this. I was at Tampa Pro, what, 2 years ago? No, a year ago. 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And I remember there was this, I believe she's Russian. She had like red hair, but her suit for bikini was not like the standard, like it almost looked like a figure suit with the multicolor. She fucking rocked it. So like just consider it. Like her suit was like she reminded me of a peacock, and that's not like insulting. It was just so vibrantly blue and green that it was like a mermaid. Like she reminded me of Ariel.
That's what I want to do now.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And like she placed pretty well, even though her physique wasn't like,
That's the color I'm going for. I sent it to the group.
oh yeah, you could have like a mermaid suit moment. Again, just saying like don't knock red hair because like you could pull that off with a nice suit.
Actually, it might go well with the one I have. I have an aqua
I like
suit for
that.
wellness that I haven't worn.
Ooh. I'm gonna see if I can find that girl.
So I had some questions for today. I was thinking about it. I was like, I want to bring something to the table for this because I haven't had any good ones lately. If you could pick one movement that every fucking time you stepped into the gym, you PR'd and crushed it, what would it be?
Okay, ask me that one more time. I'm sorry. And I completely
If you could
butchered.
pick one exercise
Okay.
that every time you trained and did this exercise, you PR'd it, you crushed it, you killed it, what would it be?
So for my ego would be either hack squat or pendulum squat because I like pain. But for my physique goals and meeting where I'm at, I would say I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna let Meg take over.
I'm similar. I'd probably say like I'm doing like power squats for glutes now. I would love to keep progressing at that.
Ooh.
But since it's a new movement, I probably will. Not even try to stroke my massive ego dick.
Yeah.
But probably seated leg curl, man. Because I've been stuck at the
Ooh.
same fucking weights and the same reps for quite some time. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to beat that out. But like it's like the engagement's getting better, but ego wise, you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got another one that's like a two-parter.
Okay.
If
Hmm.
you could change one thing about the competitive bodybuilding world, what would it be? And if you could change one thing about coaching world, what would it be?
The coaching one, I need like at least fucking 10 things to say.
I
Yeah.
said
Um,
Like that. I would say just have coaches that really genuinely give a fuck. Like,
mhm.
I know that's super like world peace, Miss America, but I mean like coaches that have smaller rosters so that way they can actually service their clients or at least have the emotional capacity to limit themselves so that way they can understand and hear their clients and help them to their goals versus just viewing them as numbers, cash prizes, and things to promote. Like again, I know it's a business, you need to have marketable athletes. I get that. But like just fucking care. And that's my Miss America
Yeah.
answer.
peace.
World peace.
I'm I'm kind of in agreement. Like, just having coaches who want to actually further their education and learn more,
Mm,
not just get stuck at the cookie cutter like bodybuilding
yep.
and relying on their genetic outliers to drive business. And then they get non-genetic outliers, throw them in the cookie cutter stuff and end up fucking them. Not
Yep.
physically, but like physically too.
Yeah.
Uh, but like it's just so disheartening because then they come to you and you have to fix it, but then they also realize, oh, this is what I was looking like missing out on.
Yeah.
And it's such a shitty feeling because you're like, I feel like, I mean, I don't give the bare minimum with my coaching, but I'm just like, I feel like this is how coaching should be. And the fact
Yep.
that you weren't treated that way is like, what?
It makes me depressed.
Yeah. But
And
also I've talked about it. I think I'm gonna start being very or a little bit more picky with who I actually accept. Like it's awesome if people they want to work with me, but if on the consult call I'm not getting the vibe that
yeah,
we're gonna be compatible, I need to be better at saying, I don't think I'm the right coach for you. Not because I don't think I can coach them, just because I don't think I will enjoy coaching them. You know
that's
what I mean?
Very
important. That's
smart.
boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I need to be better at that because sure, yeah, my roster is going down. It may not grow as quickly as accepting everybody and their mother, but I won't hate coaching and want to
That's so
start
important.
up ice cream shops everywhere.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
like
it's
shit.
so important though to have boundaries with who are
Yeah.
you willing to work with and also setting boundaries with the clients you do actually coach because like it will command better respect and you'll get better results, better buy-in and like your entire business actually does go a lot further versus just like
Hmm.
doing the claw grab and hoping what was the phrase like throwing shit at the wall and hoping it
Hoping
sticks
it's
like
good. Yeah.
you're not going to get like good athletes, you're not going to get good referrals, you're not going to get good results and it can be really depressing for both you and the athlete. So I think that's great, Meg. I think that shows real leadership and real boundary setting, which is something that I feel like more coaches need to recognize, especially early on. Like when you're brand spanking new, you're not going to have pick of the crop. And like obviously there are some things where it's like you guys really vibe well on the call, but then you actually get to coaching them and you're like, oh, maybe this isn't a good fit. Let me refer you, or let me refer you to a therapist, because that's, I feel like, a great thing for a lot of people, myself included. But it is so important to have that level of self-awareness and not get emotionally attached to, like,
Numbers.
yeah, to numbers, to income, because like it will stay with time and grow with time, because a lot of the things that people promote on social media, like, it's fake, it's not real, and it just, skin in the game is really what will dictate success versus getting burnt out too quickly and hating your life.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm starting to be there.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I love coaching and I do have athletes on my roster who
Mhm.
appreciate me and respect me. But then the ones that I don't, it's just like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like it hits you hard and you're just like,
Mhm.
fuck this. Fuck you. Fuck your mama. Fuck this. Like I'm done. And that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still love coaching. I still love my awesome athletes. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's my little
Your little
soapbox.
spiel.
But competitive
Bodybuilding.
bodybuilding.
Better athletes, athletes that care. Kind of like the mirror thing,
What's up with
athletes that
you,
want to
Miss
bring their best.
America?
What do we bitch about? We bitch about poor
I know.
quality coaching and poor quality athletes because they just want to compete to compete. And you're like, why is this winning? Like, why are they going to national shows and they look like a crumble cookie? It's like having better people that are proud of their work, both coaching
Mhm.
and clients, because again, it sounds like very Miss America, but I feel like that would be a very strong solution to, do you want to compete or do you want to bring your best? If so, are you realistic with the time that it's going to take? Are you realistic with your genetic potential, your work ethic, willingness to use PEDs, willingness to stay natural? Like, there's just so much gray area where it's like, if you want to do your best, do what needs to be done. That's
Mhm.
just my Ohio bootstrap work ethic
Yeah.
conservatism coming out.
Yeah. And I think we talk about that too.
Mhm.
It's like we just want people to actually care about bodybuilding and not just the whole glitz and glam of competing in the social media aspect. But also, and it's hard to really say if there are politics involved because we don't know the backstory of
Sure.
like placements and stuff like that. But there is some sense of politics. And I think if we remove social media, I kind of wish we could just to see how bodybuilding would be, like how it was back in the day when social media didn't exist. It was magazines and stuff. I'm sure there was still politics, but like I just wonder, how heavily influenced is judging or
Mhm.
is like promoting shows and stuff on the athlete. I don't
Mhm.
know.
I have a
But what about you,
question.
Laura?
Oh yeah, Laura needs to answer.
Yeah, sorry.
Um, as far as in coaching, kind of a two-way street. Both coaches that are not about themselves, they're about the athletes. And
Mhm.
that can be more than just doing what you feel is your typical way of doing things, actually meeting the athlete where they're at,
Mhm.
finding methods of coaching that works for the athlete. No one person is the same, but then also on the returning end, having athletes that are willing to be coached.
Yeah,
So kind of a
Yeah.
two-way
I like
street
that.
on that one. Um, in the competitive bodybuilding world, seeing more people that are eat, sleep, breathe, living bodybuilding and not just
Seasonal.
I'm gonna try this. Fuck it,
No
let's take some
passion.
drugs, let's get on stage, let's do a little competition, let's diet, let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
Like this is a lifestyle, not
Yeah.
just a like, let's see how it goes and like half-ass it. And it's insulting to people that do give it their all, even
Yeah.
if they're not the biggest or the whatever on stage, like it's like disrespectful to the people that are really putting that level of effort
Mhm.
and then not getting that across the board as to like there should be a respect and building of camaraderie between competitors because that's what everyone's giving.
Yeah.
Right.
And there are certain organizations, I mean, like Christian Guzman or whatever, he puts on that summer shredding and they have like a weight loss transformation category.
Mhm.
Like, go do that, you know? Like, I don't know why people, I guess if you're doing it, I don't want to say if you're doing it correctly, but yeah, if you're doing it correctly, this is an extreme sport and it quite literally takes years off your life.
Yeah.
So to just like do it like as a bucket list, I just think that's so wild.
Yeah.
Such a weird concept. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like my thought process is if you're a first time athlete, even if it is a bucket list item, while I might not personally agree, and that's not how I bodybuild, if you hire me, I am going to expect you to be an athlete. You will
Yeah.
develop those skills that will hopefully, like obviously, yes, to win, but to bring your best, right? Like I
Mhm.
expect you to do me proud, do yourself proud, and do the sport proud. If that is not something you are willing to do and you don't care how you show up on stage, I am not the coach for you. And ladies, I'm sure you will agree where regardless of your expectations on, yes, we want to win because this is a competitive sport. If you want to be a bodybuilder, by God, you are going to be a fucking bodybuilder and you are going to learn to love this because we cannot teach passion, but we
Mhm.
can at least come into your respect.
Yeah. Yeah. And I respect the athletes because I've had a few that actually came to me for this. It's like, they tell me like, listen, like I did this. I respect you with your coaching, and I don't think I'm in the right headspace to continue on with bodybuilding at this moment. Like I respect that more than you
For sure.
giving me the bullshit excuse like, yeah, I want this, but then you can't adhere to the basics. Like give it to me straight. Like be honest with me, but also be honest with yourself. Like
Yep.
if you don't want this, that's fine.
Yeah.
No,
That
nobody's telling you you
that goes
have to
for
do
any
that.
coaching,
Exactly.
any clientele.
Yeah. Like we want you to want this, but we can't want it more than you because that's when we mentally get fucked. And
I
hello,
said that. I
that's
said that to a
me.
client the other day. I was like, listen, I want to do anything and everything I can to help you, but I'm not chasing you and I can't do it
Yep.
for
Yeah.
you.
Agreed. I mean, it was like my post today, quoting
Yeah.
the Queen, Dr. Megan Barbara. Like,
The psychotic person here who's having a mental break.
yeah,
But
it's so important to just have self-awareness, right? To have ownership. Like, if you want to do this for shits and kicks, that's fine, but we might not be the coach for you, right? There are plenty of other coaches that will, do this for shits and kicks. And like, that's how they want to promote their business. Who might have judge or say otherwise of how they put food on the table. But like it is so important that if you are wanting to like be an athlete in the sport, to make sure you have coaches that will push you to be better and not blur the lines between like being a yes woman cheerleader friend where they're no longer pushing you to be competitive or to at least improve and be better. And that is also another thing that I feel like females probably struggle with more is toting that line between being too soft or empathetic and not remembering that they're hiring you and paying you for a service to be better. And if you're just like, oh, it's fine to, have, gentleness or whatever like that, like again, context specific, of course, but like it's still a service. You need to show up. You need to own both ends.
yeah,
I feel like that's a good way to
I
do it. I
agree.
do have a fun question though.
All
Yeah.
right, give it to me.
Yeah, I need
So
some fun.
yeah, would you rather
Mm.
when it comes to, let's say you were like cream of the crop, you were a top level Olympia athlete. Would you rather be a top level Olympia athlete and get like magazine sponsorships back in like the early 2000s or be a mainstream bodybuilder today? Pre-Instagram fame is, I guess, what I'm hitting at.
Yeah. Um, shit.
I thought
That's
that was a good one.
I
Okay.
think I would take the old school because at first I was like, oh, new school kind of way of how
Mhm.
people are praised. Like they get sponsored by Dark Sport and fucking all that shit. Like,
Mhm.
but back in the day, I feel like the people who are truly passionate about bodybuilding were the ones who knew about bodybuilding.
Mhm.
Now I feel like it's so mainstream that you have these broccoli headed kids and like girls
They're
with
everywhere.
their shorts up their ass, like, saying
Yep.
that they're obsessed about bodybuilding. I'm like, no, you're not.
No, you're not. You're obsessed for
Who
clout.
Dorian Yates then, bitch? Like
Yeah.
who's that? It's like,
Meg's like, I live more than you.
Literally. But yeah, that's the thing is they're so obsessed for clout, they're not obsessed for bodybuilding. And Meg, I
yeah.
agree with you. The reason why I would rather be less mainstream and more popular is because if I got, let's say, a bodybuilding like muscle and strength magazine cover, that means someone would have to drive to the goddamn store, buy a magazine, or at least have some level of you have to leave your house to come see me. Like that
Mhm.
shows me that you genuinely love and respect this magazine and you're really excited for this issue, not just scrolling through your phone, double tapping, liking. Like have subscription notifications on, like you disrupt your life with intention and purpose to come see what I'm doing versus just mindlessly, oh, Ash looks good today, grew some ass, that's cool, double tap, let me use her code. It's not that I don't appreciate people like using my code or following along in my journey, but it's the intention of, actually driving to the store versus the mindlessness of just,
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
that's my thought. Laura, go.
I'm kind of in the middle though.
I think I would pick present day if I'm being totally honest.
No, you should be. Why? Give us the deets.
Just for like where we're at in life right now, because I think that would probably cross to more coaching athletes of like-minded wants, needs, desires, all that type of stuff, which is like something I'm very passionate about. Even though I love coaching all different types of athletes, like competitive athletes is definitely something I feel very strongly about. And just kind of having a bigger reach, like being an example that is, trying to do things the right way and get there with like the good old meat and potatoes type of foundations. And having that be something that's seen. I don't know if one would be more seen than the other, but in my mind, I feel like that would be more
Yeah.
viewed.
Yeah, it would be mainstream, absolutely.
Yeah. And I agree. I'm kind of in between because I do like how the old school was and like how you actually got sponsorships. It wasn't
Mhm.
as easy as it is today.
Yeah.
Like they wanted to sponsor the top competitors at the shows, but no, now you got this girl who's gifted with like maybe glutes, maybe a BBL, we don't know, but she is sponsored and you're not. You're working your ass off and
Yeah,
she's
that's
just
true.
posting, videos of her ass. Like it's
Mhm.
so backwards nowadays, but I also think like you do get a greater reach now.
Sure.
Like obviously, there's more outlets for us. We have more traveling opportunities as professional bodybuilders. We can go to meet and greets and all these things and like how would you, sure, back in the day there were forums and stuff to make a meet and greet, but it's definitely easier
Sure.
if you were involved with like social media and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
there's
One
pros
of
and cons.
one other thing that makes me more towards current day is the lack of knowledge in regards to female enhancements and
Sure.
the
Yeah.
inability to have any type of like supporting education for that type of stuff. And I think that's
Oh,
something
for coaching, you said?
just the ability to like get legitimate information,
Mm,
especially for females, like females that are not even just for PEDs, but like, you know, I at one point thought I was the only person in the entire world that had an eating disorder. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you
mm,
feel so alone. And I think that social media has provided the ability for others to connect or see that they're not the only ones and things like that.
yeah.
Absolutely. No,
It-
that's a great insight. Like I completely agree. My only like the thing that seals the deal for me is with that higher level of reach and output, sometimes you can lose yourself in the sauce. And I don't want to be Ash Markham influencer. I want to be Ash Markham. Just
mhm.
that's it. And I feel like if the fame would ever go to my head or the pressure would get to me is seeing that follower count go well beyond like what I can truly handle. Because at some point, yes, there is, I forget what the phrase is, there's like comfort in strangers or something like that. But like
Mhm.
having again like a million plus people like look to me, like I feel like that pressure, although yes, kind of the Chris Brumstead, it's a privilege type of deal. I don't think as of right now anyway, I would be mentally equipped to be able to handle that. Like I would take it way too personally and I feel like it would make me not enjoy bodybuilding, which would break me. That would break my heart because I love this fucking shit.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, part of me, it's like, yeah, I have a decent following on
You have a
Instagram.
large
You
following.
have a very large following.
Let's
Right.
be real.
Right. But like, I did used to take it super personally when I would get
Mhm.
like hate comments and stuff like that. But
Right.
now I literally just show up as Meg. And like I would get in my feels about, oh, my client post is only getting 50 likes, but a post of me flexing my quad gets 1,000, you know? And it makes me feel so bad that I want to delete my client post. I'm like, what the fuck?
Mhm.
No, because I'm Meg the bodybuilder, but I'm also Meg the coach. And
Yep.
like you come to my page, you know what I do. That's
Yep.
one thing. Another thing I wanted to change about the coaching industry. having coaches who show up on social media as a fucking coach. Have you ever gone to a coach's page and it's just booty selfies?
Oh
Or it's
How
yeah.
do
just like
you,
them. And there's like no
yeah,
education, no
no
clients.
clients, no
Yeah.
education. I'm like, so weird. But people will hire them because they're like, oh, I want an ass like that. And I'm like, she doesn't even have an ass like that. Like, what are you doing? But
Yeah.
whatever. They'll
Well,
find that out.
it's easy, right? Like you
You're like,
see
that's just a
that.
good angle.
Yeah. Like
Yeah. I saw that in person yesterday. I was doing my hip thrust. The girl in front of me was at the Smith machine. Girl did not have glutes. I will tell you that
but she
because
had butt pad
it
problems.
was jiggling everywhere, and it was just like, yeah, not what it would be
Yeah.
portrayed as in Instagram. But she fucking twisted like exorcist style, and I was just like, holy hell!
It's
Like,
like
yeah, she kept going. Like it was crazy, but I'm sure like the shot made her glutes look
yeah.
nice and firm. But
Like
not in
none of
real
us
life.
have that type of mobility.
Do y'all remember Betty Spaghetti? That bitch could twist. Like that she had a Betty Spaghetti moment.
Yeah, that's what all these girls are doing.
Yeah. I still don't know
But
how to do that. But let's end on what are we grateful for so we can end on a positive note.
hmm, I
I'm
am
grateful.
grateful. You go.
Do you hear that? It's like a fucking airplane that sounds like in my kitchen. Uh, I am grateful for the learning experiences that I've had
Hmm.
very recently. I've gotten some humble pie handed to me, and also great learning to come from it. So
Good.
Nice.
grateful for that.
I like that. I'm grateful, well, again, for Mr. William, because
Mm.
he's helped me stay grounded in this time of stressful coaching.
Mhm.
And he's on board with the ice cream shop. So, yeah, I'm grateful for Will. I'm also grateful for my sister because I haven't seen her in forever and I get to see her tomorrow. And I'm hella excited. So,
I love that. So thankful for humble pie, thankful for family. I would say I'm thankful for this deload and being able to have more fun and have my Betty Crocker moment. And I'm also grateful for candles because since it's starting to be a bit more cozy, Eric and
mm-hmm.
I have been buying like the nice, like, I'm not like
And
the
our Yankee
pecan
Candle Club.
swirl person. I'm like the apple cinnamon or the pine forest person. So
Dude.
like I'm thankful for like calming scents
Mm-hmm.
because much like both of you ladies, sometimes we can get lost in the sauce and have anxiety, but like something about smelling like outdoor like pine helps me
Dude,
to
yeah.
remember that like it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. We're gonna see another day, guys.
Well,
Fraser Fur
I'm
smells
the
great.
only one at Bath and Body Works, like smelling all the dessert candles. That's just me.
Dog, that was me growing up though with my
I
family.
fucking love them.
Oh my God. But like, I swear to God, they're gonna fucking cancer class action lawsuit with all their parabens, phthalates.
That's
Just,
fine. Give me all the fucking parabens. I don't want your wax candle shit. That
dude, I'm
doesn't
over
sound
here like,
good as mine. Yeah,
Literally.
seriously. Like,
All right, I gotta jump
hell,
off so I can get
you're
all right.
the
natural.
back to work.
Love it. Love you, ladies. Bye.